Hi everybody! 2 weeks ago I was walking in the middle of a forest here in Finland and I was so inspired by this wonderful mushroom that I decided to do a watercolor sketch. So I started with a sketch and I pay a lot of attention about the proportion. I make a mushroom and I decided to make the most poisonous mushroom out there. I also decided to add a friend of my mushroom and I went for a green frog. I love frogs. Then I just erased the thicker line. I started to put all the color on the page, to use the wet on wet technique to do the background, and I paid a lot of attention to don't go on my drawing, as you can see in the video. I started with a light green. Then I add some drops of darker green and brown. I used in particular the burnt umber. Then I started using the darker color to do all the borders, to do all the corners, as you can see here, and I'm tapping the brush on the page. Then I started to paint my mushroom with this beautiful red that seems a marker. It's a very opaque and full of color and very vibrant red that I found in this wonderful palette. I add some orange on the bottom. Then I started to paint my cute friend, the little frog, with this sap green, very vibrant color, very light color too. And then I went for the tummy of my frog with a Mars brown. I paint also the eyes and a little bit of shadows. As you can see, I'm just putting down my base colors. Then I start to paint the bottom of my mushroom and I use a ochre. And then with the Mars brown, I start to add details and shadows. Then with different kind of greens, I start to paint the grass around the mushroom and behind my frog, and I start with lighter greens and then go with darker and darker color. I also start to paint a little bit of brownish area at the bottom of my mushroom to do some shadows. Then I go with a darker red and paint on the top of the mushroom. I also start to put the darkened details on my frog, the black details, as you can see. To paint my shadows, I love to use the paint gray because it's very dark but it's not black. Then I start to paint other shadows, as you can see, using paint gray and also Mars brown that I really love. Then I paint the shadows on the mushroom cap and I use a blue to do that. It was quite dark, I have to admit, because it said that it was a transparent color, so I thought that was lighter. I went for another blue for the bottom of the mushroom, in particular the ultramarine, that is a little bit lighter, but in theory is not transparent. Then I start to paint lighter color on my frog tummy and a little bit of highlight on the body of the frog. And I use yellow to do that. I also paint highlight on the frog fingers and I put a little bit of orange. Now I noticed that my background wasn't dark enough, so I decided to go in with color pencils, and I use in particular Carandash watercolor just to darken a little bit the background behind the mushroom in particular and my frog, in order to make my frog pop up a little bit more. Now just add the final details with white goyage. It's a Carandash Academy goyage. And then some highlight, in particular yellow, on the cap of my mushroom. I also add some highlight on the bottom of my mushroom. And here we are, the work is finished. It was a lot of fun to paint this wonderful mushroom, and I got very inspired by Finnish nature that is so wonderful in autumn. I really hope you liked the video. Please subscribe and give a thumbs up to see a lot more of content. See you next time. Moi moi!